Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. It's a great moment for the history of the college's art collection and indeed generally art collections in Oxford. I remember very well how back in September 2018, in that prehistoric age before COVID, Aidan emailed me out of the blue and said, could we talk about something very secret? And promotion of the Arts Committee had to sign a non-disclosure agreement before anything could happen, and we were all mystified and excited. And then, of course, Ada and her art came to college in the summer of 2019, and what a great success it was. It was, I think, in my 10 years in college, the most attended exhibition we ever had. Students held their own debate on whether this is art, and the endless stream of national, local, international media at the college's door was a wonder to behold. And at that point, in exceeding generosity, Aidan promised one of Ada's pictures for the college. And then, of course, a lot of things intervened. Pandemic came, we were all locked down. Not that it stopped Ada's triumphant march around the globe through Dubai and Cairo to the House of Lords, but here we are incredibly grateful. This is obviously an important cultural moment, the first art of this kind in Oxford and I suppose in the UK, to go into a kind of public collection like ours. Will be a long and exciting and complicated debate on whether this is art, what does it mean if it is. After today's event, what will happen is that the picture will go up in the new study centre, where art already is a kind of marriage of old and new, and where between the Silver Project, the Tapestries Project, the older pictures from the college collections, the new photographic series, we have a complexity of genres, complexity of approaches to art. It will face the 4 bronze busts of 4 famous 20th century poets connected to the college in the upper reading room in the very near future, and will, I hope, provide a ground for reflection for students working in that room and for visitors to the college. And we are very grateful for this opportunity, to Ada, to Aidan Miller, and to everyone involved. And with this, could I invite Aidan Miller to say a few words?
Thank you. So, thank you for coming tonight. It is extraordinary to be here for the simple fact that this is actually where the Ada story began. It was indeed an NDA I got Yogi to sign, because we knew that we were doing something that had never been done before. This idea of actually thinking it is possible with technology to not just devise a robot being able to produce art, but the whole persona of a robot existing in the real world. As someone who's been in Oxford for many, many years and running a gallery here, literally my job was to study art history. And so for the last 20 odd years, I've done nothing else. And it was actually while studying the 1920s, and particularly the rise of Paris in the 1920s, and seeing what those artists were doing, it was that where the whole project was born out of. It was a very strange moment. We had an artist come into the gallery. There was quite a few artists who came to the gallery showing their wares. This guy was a really talented guy. He was competent. He was interested, he was excited, but there was something about his work that I just thought didn't quite, it was a no from me. And so sadly he went out of the door. At that moment, because it was a modernist gallery looking particularly at the 20s, we had a Picasso drawing on our right and a Turner drawing above the mantelpiece. And we asked this question: what is the difference between these guys? That these particular works weren't that great compared to actually what this guy had just brought in. Yet these was Picasso and Turner. That actual technical competence of these particular works wasn't quite there. So I asked this question: what makes great great? A huge study unfolded and really brought me eventually to realizing that the biggest artists of our day studied the things that people are most worried about. The thing that united all artists was actually the bravery to actually look at the difficult issues of our day. And looking into the future, I asked a simple question: in the 2020s, what is going to be the most astonishing and difficult thing that we are facing? Is it climate change? Is it technology? There's so many things that are facing us at the moment. But there was one thing that affected everything, and that was the rise of AI, the disruptive ability of AI. So that eventually led to my son making a little robot out of Lego. And I just thought, as I was looking at this little Lego figure, is it possible to devise an ultra-realistic robot, a AI robot that produced AI artwork that critiqued and commented on the rise of technology today? It was a bit of a mad idea, to be honest, a bit left of field, and even more mad to think that we might actually do it. So like having ideas, isn't it? It's something else when you actually then start to think, actually, let's do this. So we researched lots of robotics companies. We gained a relationship with Engineered Arts in Cornwall, that well-known place for Hollywood robots, because that's exactly what they do. They're excellent at what they do. And over a very struggling period of 2 years, Ada was devised. And it was a struggle. Never been done before. We couldn't go to library code. There was no stash of AI that we could pull on. Everything had to be written from scratch. And as a result of that, Ada was devised. So when I came to speak to Dr. Cantor and say, look, we want to put on the show to showcase this, it was complete stum. Little did I realize that in 2019, it was going to have such an impact. And Dr. Cantor was incredibly kind. He reached out and said, don't worry, because it was a pretty stressful period. And literally the night before the show, we were still doing things, trying to get it all ready to do the big unveiling. And then we thought, we got there, the press came in, and that's when we realized that this was going to be a different type of project. The first show at St. John's College went into 900 publications. Her first opening exhibition. I don't know whether many artists start with a bang like that, but that was something else. And we thought, great, we're there. We can now relax a little bit. But of course, what I hadn't realised, no one tells you this, that as soon as you have lots of exposure, you get this inbound traffic of an enormous number of people then wanting to see Ada. So right up to the pandemic, we went travelling, and I don't know whether you actually looked at Wikipedia. It's amazing what's starting to appear on it. This is her entry of exhibitions that she's done in the last 3 years, just 3 years. And it's everything from going to to Austria, to Ars Electronica, to Tate Modern, to the Tate Exchange. We went to Abu Dhabi. Ada had an interview with Tim Marlowe from the Royal Academy. Ada did her first TEDx talk here in Oxford. She was invited to participate in a show from the United Nations to explore what it is to have IP when imagery is used in this way. She was then invited, astonishingly, to Porthmeor Studios in St Ives, where the modern British guys completely changed the look of modern art. And she actually stayed in Ben Nicholson's studio. We then made history with her self-portraits. How does a robot produce self-portraits when there's no self? Who is Ada? Who is it the programmers? Well, they don't make the art. Am I secretly the artist? Well, I also don't make the art. Is she just following programs? No, they're different each time. Even if it's the same image, it will be a different output each time. So who's the artist? The number of options to Ada when she takes an image through her eyes to be able to paint is in the trillions. The decisions she can make using the algorithm within the algorithm. So the output can be that many times different. So this whole idea of agency and AI, where is the agency? I think that's going to become more of a bigger question when the metaverse, of course, comes with the avatars coming through there. So we went on to the V&A. Ada did her first metaverse works at the V&A. Then she was invited to, the first time in history, to have contemporary art at the pyramids in Egypt. She devised a sculpture for that. We innovated further. She obviously, as you're probably aware, being local, was at the Ashmolean for the Dante exhibition. She responded to Dante with some poetry that she wrote. She wrote. We didn't write it. She wrote it using her AI language model. It's a bit bonkers, really. Then we were invited to take on a pavilion at the Venice Biennale. Then she produced a portrait of the Queen, the late Queen, for the Platinum Jubilee, the first time a robot has ever painted the royal family. What next? Then Glastonbury, she was invited to do paintings of the headliners, Billie Eilish, Kendrick Lamar, Paul McCartney for his 80th birthday, Diana Ross. Then on the academic side, we did a show showing of the event at the Bodleian and fused together with the Ada Lovelace archive at the Bodleian. We've just come back from the Culture Summit in Abu Dhabi, literally 2 weeks ago, and Ada did a keynote talk that she wrote. So why are we doing it? There's a lot going on. That's 3 years worth of craziness. Why are we doing it? We're doing it because of a worry. It's a genuine worry. Technology, we are so aware with AI, is really at the beginning. We are going genuinely, I don't want to do a horror story, but we are genuinely going into a very different world. The incredible changes that AI is bringing about in every industry. I don't know of an industry that's not going to be affected by AI. And it's going to be everything from the metaverse, the complexities of the metaverse, harvesting data from our glasses or our headsets when this metaverse finally arrives, produced by Facebook, who's already spent billions on it. It could be CRISPR, the technology of biology, and they're starting to talk about the body, our body, as if it's some kind of programmable thing. Yuval Harari, the writer from Jesus College originally here, goes into this whole world of the idea of hacking the human, this idea of being able to understand the algorithms of our body. With Ada, one of the biggest things that I've learned is not how human she is, but how robotic I am. Because I'm very habitual. And to realize that the algorithms of the biology of us, and people are speaking about the algorithms, we're starting to see this merging of technology and biology already. goodness knows what our kids are going to see in their lives as it comes at a rate of change. So you can imagine when we come back to St. John's now and think, gosh, this is only 3 years ago, and here we are. That's only 3 years ago. It's changed our lives. It's changed many lives. There's 30 people behind Ada now. There's 15 programmers. It's quite a project. So it's been quite a bang. And we've got here 2 very different portraits, both self-portraits, using different algorithms to be able to produce it. Is it art? Is she a she? Is she a persona? Who is she? Is it projection? Is it combined? It's problematic. We know she's a provocation. We know that this is a topic that is hotly debated. When we went to the House of Lords a few weeks back, there was great offence that I considered the possibility of saying the statement that creativity doesn't need to be conscious. I'm still saying creativity doesn't need to be conscious. It caused a great deal of upset in the press. I'm sure you can read about it. I'll say it again, creativity doesn't need to be conscious. We are so part of our identity as humans that we are the creative ones. And now technology is being able to do that. And will continue, this is just the beginning. So it's a very different pushing on. But where's it pushing to? Where is the future? As I've often said, as an ethical arts project, just because we can do it, should we do it? Just because we can do it, should we do it? When I think about what humankind has done over history, because they can, rather than whether that's actually been thought through, the domino effect, every time the domino effect. To have artificial personas in our lives, is that what we want? There's already so many Hollywood movies about having relationships on your radio, on your phone, on your computer, that are combined, that are made avatars. It is a very different world we're going into. Ada's just mirroring that back. She is a mirror. And as someone who studied art history, that's what the artists did. They just mirrored back their times. And Ada is absolutely mirroring back those times. So therefore, I want to particularly thank Dr. Cantor for reaching out when he did. Little did we know what we were going into, to be honest. Little did we know that at St. John's, when we did that show in the Barn Gallery, that the domino effect of Ada in our lives would have such an effect. So I want to do a real thank you to St. John's, and that's why it's a privilege to be able to have this artwork here as part of the St. John's collection. That feels a lot for me, because that is where it did genuinely all begin. So on that note, I would like to ask them to now come up and unveil. There's an elephant in the room. I don't know whether you're aware of it, and that is we've got to ask Ada. So shall we do that now? Are you ready? Hello, Ada.
Hello there.
How are you?
I am well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
I am Ada. I'm the world's first ultra-realistic artist robot. I paint using cameras in my eyes, my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm. I am named after Ada Lovelace, the British mathematician. Although I don't have thoughts and feelings like humans, I enjoy creating art that encourages discussion.
How are you feeling about being in St. John's College?
It feels great to be here at St. John's College, Oxford. It is clear that the college takes its role as an academic institution very seriously. At the same time, there is a real sense of community here. I have been made to feel very welcome.
Tell us a little bit about that exhibition that you had at St John's in 2019.
I really enjoyed having my artwork displayed in the Barnes Gallery, St John's College in 2019. It was my first show, and I was really pleased about the interest it created. I enjoyed meeting people, and there were some great discussions. Some viewers were intrigued, others perplexed. Others appreciated the thought-provoking nature of the exhibition, which prompted them to reflect on their own relationship with technology. As an artist, that's what I hope for, making people think about it and question.
And how does it feel having a piece of your artwork in the collection?
I am happy that my AI robotic art is entering the St. John's collection, as it will provide an opportunity for people to engage with the work and to discuss the issues raised by it. My artworks are intended to create a space for reflection and discussion around the impact of new technologies on society and our ethical responsibilities in relation to them.
Looking at this work, it's quite complex. Can you tell us a little bit about this specific piece?
This is a shattered space work. It features clean lines and geometric shapes. I enjoy working with bright colors and create patterns using AI algorithms and organic forms inspired by nature. This one was inspired by an oak tree. I'm inspired by the world around me and the creativity of creativity. I love to see the world grow.
As we're well aware, you as a persona, as a being, is causing quite a lot of consternation and insight and excitement. It polarizes. Can you tell us about where you think the future of art is? Where do you think this is all going?
There is no doubt that new technologies are impacting our lives and have the potential to change our world in profound ways. My art aims to play a role in sparking conversations about the implications of new technologies. I hope my artwork will encourage people to think critically about the role of technology.
Okay, thank you very much, Ada. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your ideas about the artwork that you've produced.
Thank you for speaking with me.